Okay, you should have received a slip of paper. I just want to say if you have your smartphones, just type in the code or scan in the QR code, and you should see this right in front of you on your phone. If you don't see it, we have a number of board members that are prepared to help you. If everyone could find their seats, it's 6:01. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we don't want to be here till midnight with the weather. There's this is a phenomenal turnout for the weather tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming. This is wonderful. Sue, can I start? Okay, a minute or two. All right, we're going to start. And if anybody comes in, we'll just try to catch them up. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight in spite of the weather. It's greatly appreciated, and it is so helpful because tonight a lot of what we're going to do is get your feedback. And that's really important for Mainspring for us to do our work is to hear from you. So before we get too much into it, I just wanted to recognize some of our elected officials that are here tonight. I saw Representative Keith Greiner is here. thank you for coming. You were also here this morning, so we appreciate your dedication to this event. Our other elected officials, Corey Musser, Councilman Corey, he also is on our board of directors, so he wears two hats. Nancy Harris is borough manager, and she's here tonight. And she also serves on our board of directors. And then our other board members, just raise your hand who's here on our board. So I really appreciate the support of our board coming out tonight. So you should have received, as I said, a little piece of paper with a QR code or this code. If you had a chance to put that into your phone, you should be looking at this screen right now. Okay, so we're going to start with two warm-up questions. Okay, so go ahead, Lisa. So easy one. How are you feeling today? Should be tonight. How are you feeling tonight? And this is a word cloud, so you just type in two responses. Could be happy, it could be tired, anything. Just how you're feeling. And everything on this mentee program is anonymous. So it's not like you're going to be singled out in any way. The other great thing about this particular kind of interactive program is we can save the answers, which will be very helpful as we move along here. You'll see for future like feedback and just information. We hope to have this on our website in a week or two. Cold, excited, cozy, cozy. That's good. Okay. Next question. Oh, it's still coming through. Undercaffeinated. Blessed. How long have you lived, worked, and or volunteered in the borough? Just sort of polling our attendance tonight. Interesting. So we have quite a few people who are relatively new to the borough. That's good. Great. So before I start the presentation, I wanted you to hear from Miss Cindy Mellinger. Cindy has worked at Blue Ridge Communications for over 40 years. She just experienced her retirement, just had that big landmark event. And Blue Ridge Communications is one of our #1 community partners. This company has done so much for Mainspring and many other nonprofits in the northern Lancaster County area, gives us thousands upon thousands of dollars of in-kind sponsorship for advertising, TV ads, everything like that. So I think it's really important for you all to hear from Cindy as to why Blue Ridge chose to support Mainspring in such a way. So Cindy?
Good evening. Thank you for everyone for coming out tonight on this chilly night. I was here this morning and it was another wonderful attendance. And I must tell you that Joy did a phenomenal job. I'm anxious to hear um, her talk again tonight. There's a lot of fabulous things they're doing that I didn't even know about. So it's remarkable. And I personally want to say thank you to the board and to all the volunteers and to Joy and her team for all that they do. I think you'll be very, very pleased to see what they're doing. As Joy mentioned, I'm Cindy Mellinger. I was marketing and community relations coordinator for Blue Ridge for 40 years. Just recently retired. I'm having a little bit of a struggle. Some people keep asking me how I'm doing with retirement, so I will tell you it's a struggle. I'm at this point semi-retired, but it's hard to go from 120 miles an hour to the zero. It doesn't work too well. I'm not quite wired for that. But anyway, I was asked to speak tonight on behalf of Blue Ridge. They're still looking for some people to replace me in my retirement, so I'm still happy to be a part and continue to participate, and I will also be volunteering in the community as well. Born, raised, live, and will always remain in Ephrata. This is my hometown, which I value, I cherish. This is my safe refuge and the community in which I wish to reside, and also where I wished and was able to have my career. Blue Ridge is a family-owned company for between 50 and 60 years. So it is owned. I know the people that are at the top, and the founder has passed, but all of his children are still remained and are in the business, and we're now in their fourth generation. So I can actually speak to them, talk to them. They know who I am, and they really care about all of their individual employees. So with that being said, we treat each and every one of our community people as family. That's who we are. Their core values, their ethics, everything that they are and who they are aligns with my own personal vision for my life. They were very good to me throughout my 40 years, allowing me to expand, become who I was, and find my purpose in my life. And as I mentioned today, which I'll briefly say, was I had leukemia, I had a bone marrow transplant. I'm not supposed to be here, but by the grace of God, my sister is my donor, and Blue Ridge coming alongside to help pay and offset a lot of those bills, I'm here today. So that's why I am strongly committed to Blue Ridge, because they do care. But they also care about all of you. They care about being a good provider, but they care about giving back to give quality of life and to serve the businesses and the communities. Um, so with that being said, it's an honor to be here. I've served in the community for many, many years. Marketing was a small part of my job. Community relations is what I like the most because I love people and helping and reaching out. I was involved with the Merchants Association for almost the whole time I was there. In Blue Ridge, also worked with DEI, which was a former organization, working with the chamber and so on and so forth. When it was decided that it was time that maybe we should come under one umbrella for some of those, the downtown Ephrata and the merchants, Mainspring was formed, and we said, yes, absolutely. We feel use our resources, use our volunteers, the grant money, working with the borough for one common cause, and that is for our community, for our businesses, for our downtown. And so Blue Ridge has come alongside. We believe strongly in their vision and mission. I will continue to volunteer. We are very actively involved in many aspects, and I'm very proud to say this is an awesome organization. They work very hard, and I don't think they necessarily get all of the credit for all the things that they do. But we are here to say thank you, Joy. Thank you to your team. Thank you to the board. We will continue to be supporting you because we believe in what you do, and we believe that you're going to help shape a better future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. So I'm going to start the presentation. We just had Christmas, and I'm sure you all remember the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And in that movie, George Bailey didn't think he had an impact, didn't think he made a difference. And so what Clarence the angel did was take away his existence, and then he got a whole new perspective of how important and how much of a difference he actually made in the lives of his neighbors, his community, and his family. So I'm copying that same concept. It's a wonderful town. And I want you to think as I go through this year-long presentation of the many activities and accomplishments that we have done, what would it be like if Mainspring never existed? Okay? So just think about that. So as you may recall, we have 3 core programs. We have business development, physical development, and community and events. And within the past year, actually a little bit longer, Business development, let's start with our Downtown Property and Business Owners Association. We put this together so that our business owners and property owners within our designated area, which is primarily Main Street and the first blocks of North and South State and North Church, um, they needed a forum. They needed to be able to come together and learn each time we meet. We have a presentation and they learn things that are valuable and relevant to their businesses or to their properties. There is their opportunity to collaborate. We had a downtown discount card program last April and then again during the fall season. And then there's opportunity for discussion and understanding. The borough, Nancy actually attends these meetings, and so it's a great opportunity for the businesses downtown to express their challenges, to ask questions of the borough, and the borough can describe why they chose to do something. I have the parking kiosks as an example, because that is a perfect example of something that was installed by the borough. The businesses didn't quite understand it, and so they had a discussion and a meeting, and they came to some compromises. And that is where that work is done, in that association. So that is extremely important to our downtown business development. Next, we have a business recruitment and retention committee, and their purpose is to, of course, retain the businesses that we currently have, because that's the low-hanging fruit. We want to retain what we have to avoid empty spaces. It's much harder to try and fill an empty space than it is to help a business set up for success and retain that business. We also have a recruitment priority in that committee, where we want to tour open spaces and we determine this is an optimal space to have such and such type of business here. And then we go out and seek those kinds of businesses. The pictures I have here is through grant funding, Mainspring was able to make some improvements to our conference room so that we can hold training sessions and professional Zoom meetings and those kinds of things to help businesses. We created a welcome packet for our new businesses. We just got finished with doing a downtown business survey, and I have two companies, two businesses logos there, Glass House Wine Works and Colorful Macarons. Those are two businesses, an example that this committee met with to talk about expansion, to talk about some of the challenges these businesses were having. And that is the purpose of that committee. We also are very heavily involved in tourism. We need to build vibrancy. We need to increase our downtown foot traffic, and tourism is one of those ways to do it. We just got finished with a tourism brochure. 45,000 copies of this tourism brochure was printed and distributed all throughout the region. We just saw the Getaways on Display gentleman earlier this week, and he said, I cannot keep your tourism brochure stocked. Everywhere I go, I'm constantly filling up those little boxes for yours. There's a great interest in Ephrata, and you guys need to know how much outside people are like, Ephrata, we want to go see Ephrata. We also are a member of Discover Lancaster, and this is an example of our webpage directly on their website for Discover Lancaster. Historic preservation is very important to business development. It means jobs, it means preserving our architecture, preserving our identity. So through a $12,000 expense, we had we placed preservation easements on our historic Sprecher building. We had won a grant of $107,000 from the Community Foundation to make improvements to the Griddle and Grind building. And there's a picture here of C. Emblem Urban Award, Mainspring, Firm Foundations, and Poor Man's Brewing. We all received this award for adaptive reuse. We took a historic building that had been set up for retail, and it was converted into restaurant space, and we all won an award for that. And we do a lot of promoting of our businesses through Small Business Saturday opportunities. We highlight our small businesses once a month on our social media. We have a business directory on our website, and we do a lot of ribbon cuttings, and we have a lot more coming up. Next, physical development. Physical development is the optics, making things look better, spending money, um, costs to improve the optics of our downtown. So one of the things we had won was a facade improvement grant. And out of the $50,000 that we were awarded from the state, we were able to give out micro grants. $12,000 of that original 50 is yet to be spent, and it's already in the works. Our final properties are going to be worked on within in the coming months. And we also want a grant to make some improvements to our Ephrata Bike Park at Heatherwood. How many knew about our bike park? You're aware of that? Because a lot of people don't know about that. This is a great recreational asset right off of our rail trail. It has a pump track, mountain trails that the bicycles can go on, and we spent money making great improvements to the pump track and to those trails. Physical development continues. We just won $5,000 grant to make improvements to our bike share. Do you all know that we have a bike share? You can rent a bicycle for 2 hours, 4 hours, and tool around town, visit Lidditz, go visit the Ephrata Cloister, all that kind of thing. We need to make improvements to that program. The twin on the other end of the rail trail is Lidditz. They have over 1,000 bookings. We have around 400, so there's room for improvement and room for growth, and that's what we're going to do with that funding. We also created a public arts committee this past year, and our very first project was the mural on the Franklin Street parking lot walls. How many have seen this mural? Have you seen it? So this was voted on by the community. There were 3 different designs put out there in a huge social media campaign, and this is the design that won. It's almost finished. The weather got cold, so she couldn't quite finish it, but by March, April, this will be completed. And I love it because you can see it from the rail trail, you can see it from State Street, and it's a wayfinding tool. It's helping people find the Franklin Street parking lot. It's the one, as I said, it's the first one of many. We hope within 5 years to create a downtown public art walk. And that will help with that tourism, that will help with that creating a destination for our Ephrata. Physical development also means taking care of things that we already have. The murals, there's 7 murals along the brick walkway by the train station. Do you all know what I'm talking about? These were rotting, they were faded, they were in bad shape. So the original artist, we called her back in, and through some grant funding from the borough and private funding through a local company, we were able to pay her to have all of those murals refreshed, fixed, and resealed. And then the Public Works department from the borough helped us hang them back up again, and they look beautiful. More physical development was done this year. We won some grant funding to have the downtown kiosk replaced. All those little windows in there were leaking, so they were replaced. LED lights were installed, and the whole thing was repainted. We made some improvements to our visitor center. We now call it the Welcome Center, and you can buy merchandise in there. And also, what is coming in March is our shade system. The columns are already installed right there on the plaza, and the shades will be installed in the month of March. So now community and events. And again, all this activity is done within the past year. We are probably best known for our events. So, of course, our 4th Wednesday happy hours, they kick off again this year in May. First Saturdays brings down a tremendous amount of people to the downtown. We have activities in the afternoon, and then it culminates to an evening of live music, food, beverages, dancing, and retail sales from different vendors. It's a great day. They start in June and run through September. Holidays in Ephrata are the biggest thing. Nobody does holidays, I don't think, better than Ephrata. But there's a lot of behind the scenes work that's done for holidays that I want to share with you. First of all, 250 wreaths that were lit and hanging on the light posts downtown, they all need to be stored somewhere. So Ephrata National Bank allows us to store all those wreaths in their basement. Imagine if we had to pay rent for space to store all of those wreaths, but they make it possible that we can just do it as an in-kind contribution. We spend about $3,000 every year on buying brand new lights for the trees, for the wreaths, for just around. Those lights get old, they get hard, they are used very hard, so we spend a lot of money purchasing new lights every year. We have a holiday banner program, we have a historic building ornament that we have created every year, and we convert our visitor center into Santa's house every year. Additionally, we put on the actual events. We have a Jingle Bell Trolley Tour. That's a ticketed event. Then, of course, the famous tree lighting and Santa's arrival. That is a free community event. Costs about $30,000. We have our New Year's Eve celebration, Ephrata Unexpected, and that's about $20,000. Again, free community events that bring thousands to our downtown. We also, in our ties to the community, we have very active veterans programs. We have a brick program at the Veterans Plaza that you can purchase a brick with your loved one's name on it. We have the Luminary Trail every Veterans Day. This past year, the Sons of the AMVETS approached Mainspring and they said, your benches need help. And I'm like, yes, desperately. And they took those benches out and they redid them, and it looks just beautiful. We have clean and green programs. Every year we put out planters. We have about 27 sponsored planters that we put out, and they are the most beautiful. They're lush, they're gorgeous, and no other town can compare to our planters. And every year we have two cleanup days, spring and fall. Our Denver Ephrata Rotary Club helps us spread mulch. It's just a great way to get the community involved, to keep our downtown nice. And every year we have been hosting or planning in partnership with the Ephrata High School a job and intern fair. So I want to talk about marketing. Within the past year, you can see the numbers, the cost of marketing. We have spent almost $38,500 in marketing because we're not just marketing Mainspring as an organization, but we're marketing an entire borough. So we were 11 weeks straight on the front page of the Ephrata Review, because Mainspring, we're always doing something. We partner with the Ephrata Borough, and we help them with their promotions and marketing of their new initiatives, such as the parking kiosks. I have something here about stormwater. We hope to help them put out information to educate the community about the stormwater issues, which is going to be a very big topic in the coming months. We make sure Ephrata is known throughout the state. So we have statewide recognition. In late winter last year, Secretary Rick Seiger came to tour downtown Ephrata. He was promoting the Main Street Matters program, and he could have went to any town, designated community or not, throughout the state of Pennsylvania to promote his Main Street Matters program. But one of the towns he chose was Ephrata, and I think that's a huge feather in our cap. Senator Almond came to tour downtown Ephrata in early September. He wanted to meet with the business owners and just get their take on things. How are things going for you? And I think that was a great educational experience for Senator Almond. Then through a collaboration with the borough, Friends of the Ephrata Unleashed Dog Park, and Mainspring, we were able to secure an award for that public-private partnership through the Pennsylvania Downtown Center. Volunteerism. We couldn't do any of this without the help of our dedicated volunteers. And you can see just in the last 2 quarters of last year and the first 2 quarters of 2024, almost 1,500 hours were clocked in volunteer work. And that equates to $41,796. If we had to pay somebody to do that, could you imagine? This is just a huge list of all the partnerships that we have. We have to work with our partners. We could never do this on our own. So our partners make everything that we do, everything that I just laid out for you, they make this possible. And I don't even have everybody on this list. So the total value, adding all those numbers up, our programs, our marketing costs, and our volunteer hours, we are providing a value of $518,000, almost half of that, $518,500, that we are contributing to the downtown that is not being taken out of your taxpayer dollars. So I'll ask you again, if Mainspring didn't exist, would we have all of this that I just shared with you? Just something to think about. So now it's time for you to answer some more questions. Okay, so when you think about Ephrata, every town has an identity. Pick 2 words that come to your mind right away. Like when you think of Lidditz or you think of Columbia, you think of words describing those towns. What do you think of when you think of Ephrata? Backwards, that's good. Historic and home are large because a lot of people are selecting those words. Beautiful. Opportunity, that's a good one. Ready for the next one? In your opinion, what is needed to make downtown Ephrata more vibrant? It can be anything. More retail stores, restaurants, more businesses, more variety, remove the homeless presence, high-end retail, family entertainment, lot of retail, yeah. Collaboration among all organizations. Good. Okay. Next. What makes downtown Ephrata a hard place to do business? A lot of you mentioned you need more retail stores. Do you think there's something that makes it difficult to have retail open up downtown? parking. Businesses don't align with younger, I guess that's generation. Like I said, these are saved, so we can definitely preview these and discuss them. Good. So as we think about your answers to those kind of hard questions, I want to share what is Mainspring trying to achieve with all that activity that I just described to you? What is it that we're after? So I want to remind you of our three core goals for revitalization of the downtown. One is make Ephrata Borough a recreation destination. Brand downtown Ephrata is the place to be through historic preservation, increased vibrancy, there's that word, and increased tourism. And then we want to create a safe, clean, and green downtown and increase community engagement. So everything that we do, all those activities are to fulfill these primary goals. I want to remind you too of, I keep talking about our designated area. It is actually longer than just the downtown core commercial district. It starts at the top of the hill at Spring Garden Street, and it follows all the way down to the Cloverleaf. It's about 1.3 miles. That is our designated area. It also includes North and South State, First Blocks, and North Church, and a little bit of Parkway. So that, when I talk about our designated area, our focus is in the orange part. That's our focus. Mainspring, we are dedicated to the entire borough, but we have to start somewhere. There's so much work to be done. And so we need to focus our efforts in this area to start. So the business development program, we are committed to the retention and sustainability of current businesses and the recruitment of independently owned quality businesses. Those are primary goals for our business development program. I have some information here too. About 120 plus businesses are located in the designated area. 20 of those are ethnic owned, and that's almost 17%. Why is that important? Because we are a very diverse borough. Our downtown is diverse in its businesses. And why is that a good thing? That is a good thing. That's a good thing because when you introduce different kinds of cultures, you get different flavors of food, you get different kinds of art, and that all enriches our culture. And that makes us more vibrant. That brings people downtown. People want to pick Ephrata as a place not only to possibly visit, but even to live there. So we want to embrace that diversity. Also, downtown is less costly on the lease per square foot costs. If you look at the outside donut, they average about 23 to $44 per square foot. Many of our downtown open businesses right now, places that are open for lease, are $12 a square foot. That's very enticing. I stole this little saying from another revitalization organization. Shop small, not sprawl. We want to encourage shopping local independent stores where that revenue is reinvested back into our location, our community, as opposed to a big box store. Sprawl, a corporate sprawl, a great example would be Dollar General, and I'm not saying anything bad about Dollar General. It's just that the majority of the revenue that's raised from those profits go into another state. So they're not necessarily always helping the downtown, not when we're really looking at economic revitalization. And we don't have that many vacancies comparatively to other downtowns that are similar to ours. And we don't have that much blight. We have buildings that need help, absolutely. But I'm talking about large, empty, broken out pieces. We don't have a whole lot of that. The challenges of business development, the volume of foot traffic. We need to increase our foot traffic. And as you stated, we don't have enough variety in our retail and eateries. And we need to overcome misperceptions. Parking is actually one of those big misperceptions that we all need to come and talk about and get on the same page with. Okay, some more questions. Change will happen and is happening. So as we progress down the path to revitalization, what do you think is important to preserve? And it doesn't have to be tangible necessarily, like our historic buildings, that's very tangible. It can be like a close-knit community. It could be anything like that. History of the Springs, that's a new one, that's really neat. Good. Next. Which of these recreational assets do you feel have the most potential to make Ephrata a recreation destination? And this is a ranking, so you just kind of drag it up. It's interesting to compare the answers from this morning to tonight. Everyone done? Very interesting. All right. About recreation destination. So our physical development program, we want to create destinations, definitely. And we want to improve the quality of life for our residents and businesses here in the borough now. I have this chart here. Now, it is from 2020, but what it shows is the incredible amount of jobs that were created and economy generated from recreation. For example, biking. Almost 46,000 jobs were created just in that particular aspect of recreation, biking. 2 million, over $2 million in salaries and wages. Do you think these numbers, and you see the totals here, is $20 million in salaries and wages. Do you think that boosts the economy of the state? Absolutely, it does. And that's why we need to get on board with this. Marietta has gotten on board with it. Quarryville is getting a rail trail right into their downtown, and they don't really even have a downtown, not like our downtown. So we need to get on board with this. We need to promote our recreational assets now and the potential that we have. We have the most amount of green space of any borough in the county. So there's a lot of opportunity here to generate economy from just recreation. Then building that downtown vibrancy that we all want. We can do that through public art. Talked about the downtown art walk through public art. That all is in the works. Increase our natural beauty. around the town and even in the downtown, and preserve our historic architecture. Venti question. Which of the Ephrata Mainspring downtown events have you attended? And you can select more than one here. And if you haven't attended any, there's none of the above. Good. First Saturdays and the Christmas tree lighting. Those are the big ones. And New Year's Eve, happy hour. So these are our community events, but they do more than just having a fun event for the community. They help our downtown businesses. This is a quote from Alan Roth, who's the owner of Harmony's Treasures. Wave your hand, Alan, you're here tonight. He greatly benefits from our community events. He stays open and he takes advantage or leverages those thousands of people that are downtown at Christmas tree lighting. He says tree lighting has been our best day of sales 2 years running. And poor man's, this is a longer quote, but I want to read it because it's really impacting, especially regarding First Saturdays. Poor man's consistently experiences an uptick in business when there are events hosted by Mainspring. The First Saturday events during the summer typically are some of the busiest days of the summer for us. In my experience, all events from the Christmas tree lighting to Wednesday happy hour events lead to more foot traffic in town and the opportunity to bring more customers into downtown businesses. So we're kind of killing two birds. We are helping our businesses and we are providing something that the community can get together and enjoy. So that is the end of my presentation, and you have 2 more Menti questions to answer. First, do you have any questions for me? You can, if you don't want to raise your hand, don't want to be singled out, you can just write the question on there, and I will do my best to answer. And it can be anything.
Developing that and oh, I need a microphone. I very rarely do they give me a mic. Um, and talking about the Ephrata Mountain and making the community more of kind of like an outdoor location for everyone to come to and capitalizing on the green space that you mentioned. Where is that standing right now? Has any development gone through?
The Ephrata Mountain, the
Yeah,
status
I
of
mean,
it. Yep,
yeah.
that's a good question. We are still trying to raise the funding to have a master plan created. So right now it's a vision and we're doing a lot of talking about it. But until we can actually have a master plan created with maps and visuals and that sort of thing, we want to hold public meetings with that material and just get a lot of feedback from the public and create a plan for it, an actual tangible plan. And that costs about $60,000. So I'm waiting, I have grants submitted for this, and we are waiting, and I'm also pursuing another line of revenue, another source to try to get the funding for this, because I am very anxious to get moving on this as well. But that's where it's at. Until we get the money in to be able to hire a company to help us with the consulting and create that master plan, it's just a vision right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's, oh, thank you, Dean. Um, are there, you're saying about the grants and things like that. Now, is this something that you have seen another organization or another town or community do? Or is this something, because of all the wonderful assets we have, that this is a vision that has been, that just here locally has been brought up for a possible project? Do you know what I mean?
The mountain.
The mountains, yeah, so that when you have to get the grants, and is it something that, like a template, or something that you kind of followed? Is this just something you are coming up with and are going to just design this as you go? How does that work?
So the Ephrata Mountain, you're talking about that project
Yeah,
specifically?
yes, yes,
Okay.
correct.
The Ephrata Mountain has been discussed for the past 20, 25 years. This is not a new Joy just dreamed this up type of thing. It's actually part of the 2014 comprehensive plan from the borough. They mention some kind of recreational use of that mountain. It's been discussed. They did have, back in 2007, a forestry study was done on top of the mountain and how it could be used for different kinds of recreation, enjoying the native plants that are there, all that sort of thing. So nothing was done with it. It kind of died on the vine because there was a lot of um, challenges to that. A lot of residents at that time did not want to see it move forward. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen again, but until we have a clear plan, because it's not just opening up trails that are already there. There's other things that that mountain we can benefit from. We can repropagate some of the native plants and some of the native trees that we haven't seen in a very long time. We can, somebody put up this history of the mountain springs. Do you know that that reservoir, the walls of the reservoir, the mountain springs that fed the hotel, they're still there? How about we clean that up and promote that? That is really, really cool. So there's so many opportunities there, but yet keeping it preserved, place some maybe conservation easements so it's protected. That is our mountain, that is our green space, and it could be so much more than it is. So that's what we're pursuing.
Excellent, thank you.
Sorry. Okay. I hear Ephrata Borough is taking the dog park committee away from Mainspring. Will taxpayers be paying the bill for all of the events, services, and administrative costs that Mainspring currently provide? I'm not quite sure how to answer that because I'm not the borough and I don't know where they're at. Nancy, do you feel comfortable making a comment about that?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not one that's usually called quiet either, but so there will be at this month's Community Service Committee meeting a proposal to create a dog park committee under the borough auspices, and we would be looking for community volunteers. As far as the cost, the borough is already paying for the cost of construction and maintenance, but there's a lot of great things the volunteers do in that, and they still can. There's still a little bit of work to be done on figuring out how to deal with any fundraisers that would be done. I mean, certainly people can donate things to the borough. So there's definitely a little more work that needs to be done there.
Thank you. How can I get more involved in Mainspring activities? We have a volunteer form directly on our website. Please fill it out and submit it. We get that, and then I will give you a call and set up a time for you to come meet with me or Lisa Wilworth. Raise your hand, Lisa. She's the administrator. And or give us a call. Come visit us. Our offices are at the train station. I thought there was a restaurant going into the main building. What happened? I got that question this morning. This is what I can tell you. I don't know everything of what's happening, but Firm Foundations, they are the owner of the Brossman building. They, of course, are working with a commercial realtor. That commercial realtor has told me that there has been a number of different folks interested in the Lilly space. They have toured it, and that's about all I know at this point. Nothing that I've heard of has actually stuck yet, but there is a lot of interest in the space. And again, the square footage rate there is extremely, it's beyond reasonable. It's a great price. Um, Same with the movie theater space. There was an interested party in that. The last I heard, they were very interested, not to necessarily bring back first run movies, but they were exploring making that an entertainment type of business in there. How much money is needed for Ephrata Mountain Master Plan? 60,000 was the amount of the grant request that I put in. Why is such an emphasis on recreation when the survey results clearly say that retail and bars are what people enjoy? The survey results, retails and bars. I'm trying to think which survey. Huh? That earlier, okay. Well, when people are done recreating, where do they go? That's a big boost for businesses. They go hand in hand. That's the thing about economic development. I even learned this, how things are not isolated. They're not, they're not like waffles, where you pour the syrup and it goes into these little compartments. It all works together. So recreation destination will bring more business to retail and to our bars and restaurants. It happens. Does that answer that question? Okay, is there any thought towards working, and I can't see the rest of that. Oh, okay. I would answer if I knew what the rest of it. Are there any other questions? Okay, last question of Menti. How would you rate tonight's meeting? Be kind. What kind of businesses did that property owner want to see in there? And she was actually very selective. She didn't want to just pick up anybody and just to fill a space. She wanted the right kind of business, which was wonderful. That's what we love to hear. Then we also met with Bernie, and we're trying to help him perhaps sell his business so that Park Hill continues to exist. That would be the optimum choice. So anything that we can do to help broker that or negotiate or bring the right buyer together with the seller, that's what we are working towards, because we want Park Hill to remain, because it was such a great business for a very long time. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, this morning somebody asked about the Royer building. There on North State Street, there's a lot of um, spots, businesses along the first floor of the Royer building there that could be really cute. Um, the Royer building, that is one example of a property owner that does not live in downtown Ephrata. They live actually outside of the county. And as I told the group this morning, my goal is not to be negative. We want to build relationships with property owners. That's one property owner we do not currently have a relationship with. And so he's not really open to talking to Mainspring about potential businesses like Park Hill Jewelry's property owner was. So, and if you talk to this owner, he would probably say, I am helping downtown. Nail Savvy's expanding. I spent my own money and split the former Royer Pharmacy into that space into two different businesses. That's where T-Mobile, the T-Metro store is, and the Ephrata Pharmacy is now located. That used to be one store, and now it's two. So he would say, I am helping downtown business, you know? Um, so Mainspring, we are a 501c3, we're a charitable organization. We do not have the authority to write code or ordinances. We don't have regulatory authority, meaning that I can't fine a building for having a code violation. All we can do is really influence, build those relationships and influence, and try to be the connectors, bringing the right resources to the businesses and the property owners and fulfill their needs. We also want to be a bridge between the community and the borough, the municipality. And so when the municipality, the borough creates a policy, we want the community to understand why that policy was created, and vice versa. We want the borough to know where the community is at, what the businesses are thinking. The parking kiosks are a great example of the parking kiosks were installed and the businesses were like, we're going to lose business because people don't know how to use them. So we're trying to be the bridge to educate the community and also to help the borough understand what the thinking is of the community. We're the bridge, the influencers, the connectors. Unfortunately, we are not the authority. Right. That we can't control what businesses move in, what the property owners allow the type of business to move in. So that's where the relationship building is really important. I'll give you another example. There was a building, a property that just went up for auction a few months ago, located next to the Groves. It was a former attorney's office. The commercial realtor that just signed on to that space called me out of the blue yesterday and said, how's that zoned? Can we get retail in there? And I said, absolutely. let us tour, our recruitment and retention committee tour the space and see if we can recruit a really good retail store for that space. It's ideal for it. And he's like, oh, thank you so much, because I really want to get it filled. Great idea, thank you. So these are the kind of relationships that we are wanting to create. And then, no, we don't have control ultimately on what business ends up going in there, but if we can influence it, if we can find a good fit and influence that decision, then we have done our job. Anybody
Joy,
else?
Joy, I do have that last question that we couldn't see.
Oh.
Oh, did you get it? Okay.
Is there any thought towards working with the borough to diversify the area's tax base as another way to increase economic development? Diversify the area's tax base. Trying to understand what that means, because right now we have a very wide tax base for the borough. Board members, can you think of a way to answer that? Yeah, we do have, there are some tax credit type of programs, LRTA being one of them. LRTA, right now I can't think of what it stands for, but essentially it is if you are in the LRTA district, which is the downtown commercial business district, any improvements that you make to your property, you will get, and it's appraised at a higher value, you will get a tax credit for the money that you expended in those improvements up to 10 years. Did I correctly say that? I don't want to confuse it. It sounds confusing, but basically it's a tax credit up to 10 years for the improvements that you made to to your property.
Designation that it's part of the designation from the state as being a designated Main Street community through the Department of Community Economic Development. Any properties that are inside the district that do physical improvements are eligible for a tax credit for the actual cost of the improvement as well. So you have two layers of opportunities to bring investors specifically to the downtown footprint, and not, as Joyce says, in the donut.
That's, by the way, the person who just spoke, that's Bill Arrowwood. He is field outreach coordinator with the Pennsylvania Downtown Center. And he's my guide.
So at the Pennsylvania Downtown Center, we work with communities. I am the field service person for the entire Commonwealth, and I travel to communities like this all over the place. And I don't like, she can say guide because she can say that, but I like to try to say that we come and listen to what towns are looking to try to do and hear what you're doing. It's never my job to tell communities what to do. It's our job to listen to what they want to become and help them provide the resources and the information they need to do that. I can say that in her time here, because Joy came in right at the beginning of this designation, right? So she had been working in the community doing a lot of sort of other stuff in the community, but not necessarily this sort of economic development and sort of wrapping your arms around this larger picture of moving multiple gears to move a community forward. That's what we talk about when we talk about the Main Street model. It's the idea of taking, not just trying to do economic development or trying to do an event or trying to do physical improvements. It's taking all of those things, and when they turn together, you can see a transformative change in your community. And I can honestly say that it's been a huge growth spurt for this community. largely because of what Mainspring was able to do is strategically to see these pieces and turn them, get those gears turning the same way. You can ride a fixed gear bike and only go so fast. But when you ride a multi-skill, you ride a 10-speed and you start operating multiple gears, you really see the driver of the community really happening. And as a person who's all over the place, this community is doing a really amazing work job to sort of get those gears interlock. And it's not easy. The mountain is a whole thing. And I talked to Joy about this before. That is not a gear that is currently turning. But it's there and you're building out the pieces of it so that when it starts to turn, it'll turn the other ones as well. So understanding that that we see you guys moving along really well and the strategy is working, but also it's a big truck to turn around on a small street. Making change, it doesn't happen fast. We understand that it's incremental and it takes time. So like, it might take a couple of turns to get backed around and get going in the direction you want to go. But that's what we see. We see those incremental changes happening. We see the strategy working. We see this process working. And as one of the few actually communities in the state, I'm down to 7 designated main streets in the entire Commonwealth, and you guys are one of those with a real strategic plan that's going forward. You should know that from the outside, the state and other communities look at what's happening here as an example of how it's working the right way. It is just a long-term thing to do. So be prepared to understand that incremental change, as I like to say, I use this example a lot, and you guys will get this because I've been to the Ephrata Fair. When you come to the fair and you play the squirt gun game, the first thing you win, if you win the little duck. And you can trade up 4 little ducks to get a teddy bear, and you can trade up 6 teddy bears to get the unicorn. It takes time, but you guys are lining up your ducks. So I just want to say that from the outside, we look at you guys and see an example of where other communities can emulate how this works. So.
Sorry, thank you. Has there been any discussion or talk around? I know we've done some things where the rail trail has paint on the driveway or parking area between the daycare and, excuse my ignorance, the other building. But thank you. But you don't really see that as the connection to the rail trail. Like, I do feel that Main Street is missing from the connection to the rail trail. It's not a very big space, I know that, but there's not a lot of signage, or I don't know. And I'm saying this without a solution. I just know that I feel that is one big miss, and I just didn't know if there's any communication around that.
There is a lot more than communication. I submitted an implementation grant, actually, um, to the DCED to have an official entrance sign built there at the rail trail entrance there on Main Street, on East Main. So when you're driving down to East Main, it's going to be prominent, and people know, hey, that's one of the rail trail heads. I can get on the rail trail there. It's not the only entrance onto the rail trail, but it is a significant one because it's in our commercial district downtown. So that is coming. That's definitely coming. I'm working with Ephrata National Bank on that. We're in communication with that because I don't want it built too soon, because they have a whole, they now own the properties there, and they are working on a plan to redevelop that corner. So I don't want to get in the way of their construction when it should happen. They're still in the planning stages. There's nothing concrete that I can share with you. But I do want to be in open communication with Ephrata National, and they have ideas on the entrance sign as well. So it's going to be a great partnership, but it is coming. And then, of course, some additional signage when you're coming off the trail, like if you go this way, you'll come up with these businesses. If you go that way, you'll come up with those businesses. So that'll be all part of it. Good question. Cindy.
I was just thinking of something. I was just thinking of some things that you said today that I thought were so informative that I didn't know. One of them was the bike shed and just a whole bunch of other things that you said that you got some grants and some things that you were doing. Are you thinking of finding other areas possibly in the commercial district downtown, like when they can get onto the rail trail where there might be areas for bikes or this or that, or rentals, or somebody can fix a bike, or I think there was talk about that years ago when we did some strategic planning. Is any of those things going to be possibly coming in again, which could add to recreational the dollars into the downtown and businesses that might support some of those things with the
I would
downtown?
love for some kind of outfitter shop slash bicycle shop downtown area. That way, when you're coming off the rail trail, or eventually when you're coming down the mountain and something happens and you need to fix your bike, I would love for it to be right there while you're going in to have dinner and a drink at Poor Man's. Your bicycle is getting fixed, or something like that. Um, that's a business opportunity just ripe for the downtown, right along the rail trail, something like that. In the meantime, a company, I can't, I'm not at liberty to say everything that's happening, but there is a local downtown company that's interested in opening up their own little bike area for repairs and um, to put air in your tire and that kind of thing. So that's in the works as well. That that's the unfortunate. There's other things happening, but I'm not at liberty to say because it's not just Mainspring. It's our partners and people coming to us with ideas that they're pursuing, and they can pursue because it's their property. That are great, and they all benefit our downtown. So well, please drive safely on your way home. Thank you again.